Hello, my name is Jeremy Lopez, and I'm currently the pastor at Salem United Church of Christ in Tonawanda, New York, and my endorser is the United Church of Christ. Ever since I was a young child, I've always felt called to ministry, and I was raised in a religious family, and my grandfather, the person who had the greatest influence on me, was a missionary on the native reservations in Arizona. And I spent a great deal of time with him, and I watched him engage in personal pastoral ministry among people. And I knew that that was the way that I was called to live out my faith as well. I had grown up in the Assemblies of God tradition, and throughout my whole childhood, I spent more time at church than anywhere else. I was at church on Sunday morning and Sunday night, and then again on Wednesday night for family activities, and then again on Friday night for youth group. All of my closest friends were my church friends, and my pastor had a transformative influence on my faith development. For college, I attended Southwestern Assemblies of God University in Texas, and I pursued a bachelor's degree in pastoral ministries with the intention of being ordained in the Assemblies of God and seeking a call to a church. However, during my time of study, I began to struggle with my inherited faith and felt that due to my evolving theology, I was no longer destined to serve in a church. And so I began to focus instead on pursuing a call to teaching religion and theology. After college, I enrolled at Fuller Theological Seminary with that goal in mind. And during my time at Fuller, I was introduced to the world of the mainline Christian church, where I began to reimagine my future in ministry. And after a time of prayer and discernment, I began to attend a United Church of Christ church located about a mile or so from the church in which I grew up. And I found in the UCC a home for my faith and a place where I could live into my calling as a minister of the gospel. I completed my studies under the care of the UCC, and I received my Master of Divinity degree from Fuller. And within 6 months, I moved to Tonawanda to begin my ministry at Salem Church. Now, one more point I'd like to address. I found the UCC to be my church home because I found there people from diverse backgrounds, an expansive theology, and a religious practice focused on service and justice, and an inclusive community of believers. And although I no longer felt that I could be a part of the tradition in which I was raised, I found in the UCC a place where I could live out the religious values that had been instilled in me since I was a child, which are to love others and to love God, and to help people to see how God is at work in their lives and in the world around them. Now that is the core of my faith, and it is my approach to ministry. Now I had always felt drawn to military service, but I had always believed that my calling was limited to the institutional church. And when I was in my final year at Bible college, I went into a military recruiting office to inquire about enlisting. Now, at that time, I had hoped that I could serve my country and then move into my career in ministry following that. And I knew nothing of that time about the chaplain candidacy program, and nor did I consider military chaplaincy to be my calling. So I made the decision to go to seminary rather than to enlist. Now, fast forward, and during my 5th year of ministry at Salem Church, I received a letter from the Air National Guard base in Niagara Falls, and they were asking clergy to come and learn about chaplaincy in the Air National Guard. I did attend, and I was intrigued by the idea, and I even discussed it with the leaders of my church. I considered the possibility of doing reserve duty and cutting back my hours at Salem. However, at that time, the church was not open to that idea, and I had chosen instead to maintain my full-time career at Salem. Fast forward again, and I thought that that opportunity was in the past due to my age. Then my brother-in-law, who had just retired as a colonel in the Air Force, urged me to consider this again because there is a great need for chaplains, and the age limit has now been raised. So as I began to learn more about this and to pray and discern this possible calling with my family, it became more and more clear to me that God was leading me to pursue chaplaincy in the U.S. Air Force. Now I believe that with my ministry and my educational experience, I am equipped to be an effective chaplain, and that I can fully live into my vocation by providing spiritual and religious support to the men and women of the U.S. Air Force on behalf of the United Church of Christ. And I am honored to be considered for this great opportunity and calling. Thank you.